Hello, fellow gamers and fellow YouTubers alike around the world. This is Yuri Jacobs again from the YT Gamers Network, bringing you another game through commentary on the Strikers 1945 series. Today, as you can see, I am going to be playing Strikers 1945-2 as the pilot of DH98 Mosquito. Again, this commentary is going to be short because this is a two-loop game and I won't bore you with too much of it. So, without further ado, we're going to get this game started, and I will tell you more about Strikers 1945-2 as I play along here. Strikers 1945-2 is a vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up released in October 1997, once again by Japanese company Psikyo, which is a follow-up to Strikers 1945. This game was also ported to the PlayStation and Sega Saturn. H-Tech released Strikers 1945-2 for the PlayStation in the US under the title Strikers 1945. Midas Interactive released Strikers 1945 for the PlayStation in Europe as a budget title in 2003. But also, Strikers 1945-2 has also been ported to PlayStation 2 in Europe and in Japan, but nothing in the US so far. But it's a pretty good game. Skytron and Gamist released a limited edition soundtrack album for this game, as I stated earlier in Strikers 1945, Strikers 1945-2, under the CD Strikers 1945 SGCD 0001 on December 20th of 1997. Continuing where the last game ended, the forces of Candy had been demolished by the previous Strikers lineup. However, a small group known as the FGR stole the sources and technology responsible for the last events and planned to continue Candy's work by initiating world warfare with massive mech technology. And once again, the Strikers are called into action. There are again some tricks and tips that you should be aware of. In this game, you can still lock on extra maintenance if you hold the test button plus the player 1 button down during the boot, you will get the extra options in the test menu, such as the stage select, which is buggy, and the background tests. Other emulators that, other than MAME and MAME Plus, that can play Strikers 1945-2 is Final Burn Alpha. Again, this game is under the genre of Airforce2. And I've already mentioned the games in Strikers 1945. If you haven't already, you might want to try and play this game. And if you haven't played Strikers 1945 yet, I suggest that you try and play that as well. The player chooses one of 6 World War II era fighter craft, using machine guns and bombs to fight through 8 stages, which must be played twice, played in random order. Once the game is beaten, a report showing how well the player did is displayed, and the game loops with the difficulty much higher. Each game begins with 3 lives, and an extend is earned at 600,000. When all lives are lost, the option to continue is given, but the score is reset. So I guess you have to be good to play this game. As a matter of fact, you really have to be sharp on your toes and be smart to finish this game in 2 loops, because each stage differs from the first loop. I wouldn't call Strikers 1945-2 underrated or overrated. It depends on the gameplay, and it depends on your point of view. And since today is Saturday, I figure I'd go ahead and give out some shout-outs to you guys. For those I haven't shouted out yet. Awesomeware, Dawn of the Kings, that's with a Z, Dark Lord Games, Caper Scraper MC, Free Mode Magic, Fusion Gaming Clan, Everything COD X, Obi Aaron, TAS Videos Channel, Virgilio Gamer, Omar Gamer, Danny Z Gamer, a Kirby 80, Games and Stuff, and Adnan Geek. If I haven't shouted out to you now in this video, I'll do so again when the next time we meet. Again, this is an 8-stage, 2-loop video game. If you have not played any of the Strikers 1945 series, I strongly suggest that you do so. Give Strikers 1945-2 a try, and give me a response, even though YouTube doesn't have field responses anymore. Send out your videos through your channel, and I'll take a look whenever I can. Overall, I say this game, Strikers 1945-2, is very challenging, very subtle, but beautiful graphics. But again, gameplay matters, not the graphics-wise. So make sure that you play Strikers 1945-2. And when we meet again with Strikers 1945-3/Strikers 1999, I hope to see some of your videos on Strikers 1945-2. Well, there isn't much to say on this video, so I'm going to keep quiet. So I'm going to go quiet right now and let you guys enjoy the rest of this video. So, until we meet again with Strikers 1945-3 from the YT Gamers Network, and I hope all of you guys have a nice weekend, and please be safe when on the internet. And in real life in general. These mechanical warriors, you know what would have happened if it was really, if they were for real? I think this world would have been in big trouble if those mechanical warriors existed during World War II. But I also want to give a shout out to the fighting men and women who is making our country and keep it as free as possible through our armed forces, through our U.S. armed forces. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for keeping us safe, whether you're on the internet or someplace else. Thank you for keeping this country safe, and hope that we don't go to war any further soon. So again, until we meet again with Strikers 1945-3, this is Yuri Jacobs from the YT Gamers Network, signing off. Good luck, and good gaming. I really mean it.